Welcome to episode 134 of The Greywoodieshow Show, your home for all things pipe, tobacco, pens, life, and everything in between. I'm your host, Nathan Davis, joined as always by my peaked co-host, Eugene Falco.
What's up, man?
Not too much. How you doing?
Say I'm peaked?
Yes, as an interest with a Q.
About like the top of my game career.
No, that's a little rude.
Yeah, that would be.
No, peaked with a Q, as in your interest is
Gotcha. Okay.
up in today's episode.
Yep.
How have you been doing, man?
I've been busy. I have an announcement before we get started. For those of you that don't already know, we're cartoons now on YouTube.
We sure are.
We've the Grey Woody Show has made it to YouTube.
Yep.
Dragged there kicking and screaming.
Very much so.
But now it's fun. So go watch it.
Yeah, I've been really excited to see the way you guys are implementing that. There are some Easter eggs and fun things in those videos, so take your time with them and really check them out.
Watch more than 2 minutes and 45 seconds of them. I know.
Precisely why we didn't want to be on YouTube in the first place is the retention is pretty low.
So, yep. I mean, it's a big undertaking going forward. We do have plans to archive the entire body of our work onto YouTube. It won't be animated, though.
Yeah.
It's going to be a static image for anything that's not recorded now.
Yep. Yeah, to build up the back catalog and be on another platform, I think it makes sense to just static image our way through the hundreds of episodes that you need to process.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ones moving forward, the new ones will be animated and have some fun stuff in them.
Yep. So watch them, but keep listening on your audio preferred podcast.
This
service.
is our preferred platform.
Yep.
Really, we're trying to capture a new audience through the YouTube pipe community. We are not super active in that. However, it doesn't mean we don't want to provide that. So I think this is a good middle ground for us who've gone back and forth on whether we want to do that or not.
I watch a lot of YouTube. I won't lie. I watch a lot of sculpting videos.
Right.
Shout out to Ace of Clay and North of the Border.
Nice.
They make some really cool stuff. And then I watch The People's Court. It's fun. That's what I watch before I go to bed every night, is The People's Court.
Nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I have to get away from my phone by that time.
Yeah.
I can't have any more videos because I talk to customers and people all day.
Yep.
In between moments in the shop. All right, this week on The Grey Woody Show, we will have none other than Max Stokkebye. That's pretty much it. That's what this episode is. We're really excited to bring this interview to you, and we really hope you enjoy it, and we get an opportunity to hear, again, not to beat a dead horse, but this one is a pretty lively, unbeaten horse. We've heard from Jeremy and his impressions on the Sutliff side, and we've heard from Leonard and the decisions that were made leading up to everything. Now we get to listen to the future. And Max Stokkebye will be taking over, STG's American pipe tobacco presence. So we get a little more forward-thinking look at this. And hopefully we covered the questions that you guys would have wanted to know so that you're better prepared for what the future of STG tobacco looks like here.
Cool.
Yep. This episode is brought to you by Many Pens because I went through a few iterations of this interview and each time used a different one. So I will not try to list those all out. And I am smoking the Royal Yacht mixture today. I found a jar of this from before Peterson took over Dunhill tobacco production, because to my knowledge, the Royal Yacht did not survive that. So I know I have a Dunhill, the Royal Yacht mixture. And this jar has been sealed so long that when I opened it, it genuinely had fully sealed. So it's now the Royal Yacht with quite a bit of age on it. I'd say this is probably close to a 10-year-old jar. And it's colored up pretty nice. Tobacco has definitely...
So I got a message from someone.
Yeah.
Asking why I don't ever talk about the pen that I'm using.
Yeah, we've been through that a couple of times, but yeah.
So I'll just say that I'm using a Narwhal Nautilus in Cephalopod Black.
Nice.
With black pearl ink. There you go.
Yeah, I try to remember to have you do that, and we go through little spurts where you remember at the beginning and then forget again, and that's okay. That's just part of who we are.
Yep, I guess I can try to remember, but I always forget to remember. Like right, Chad from Mudvayne?
Beat me to it.
He said right, but he screamed it at me. And Scary Clown. Yep.
All right, so for the oh wow, there is a Peterson, the Royal Yacht. I guess they did continue it.
The Royal Yacht.
Yeah. All right. Truly a luxurious tobacco, Virginias are carefully conditioned to ensure sweetness. They are added to rich, heavier, and cooler Virginias.
Boy.
A unique flavor is added to the final blend to enhance the subtle and piquant aroma. So they add Virginias to Virginias. All right. So the notes say that it's shade-grown Virginias.
Shade-grown Virginias?
Yes. Pure shade-grown Virginias. Very soft smoking.
What?
Particularly recommended in cases of delicate throat. And then lemon and bronze Virginia leaves are carefully conditioned and are added to rich, heavy body Virginias. A unique flavor is added to the final blend. These are different descriptions over the years. Formerly known as a Dunhill blend, it now sports the Peterson brand. Okay, so it did continue. Good to know. Mm-hmm. This is one of those ones that we always talk about art. This is one that people love, the old painted tins, because it's this striking yellow and red combination. But that unique flavor that nobody talks about is because every argument about this tobacco ever has been what they actually flavor it. Some people think it's plum, some people think it's some other fruit, and you can sift through more arguments on the internet about the topping on this than almost any other argument that has existed in the pipe world.
Well, I'm a professional sniffer. Let me sniff that.
Yes.
I'll tell you what it's flavored with.
And I find that to be a wet tobacco, so I had dried it before I jarred it. So a little of the scent is definitely gone, but I jarred it at the moisture level.
I got it.
I like.
I know what they flavored it with. They flavored it with Virginias.
Yeah, they added some Virginia to the Virginian. Yeah, we get citrusy with raisin, fig, and plum is like the most common interpretation of this.
No, I didn't smell any raisins.
No.
Well, smells nice. Barely notice it in the air.
Yeah. For a stronger intensity flavor, the broom note seems to be pretty subdued. And I've got this in this Greywoodie relief grain chimney. Bill's last recipe for relief grain was bugging me. Some colors were coming out that I didn't think belonged in the relief grain. So on this most recent batch, I altered the stain a little bit, trying to get it back to some of my more vintage relief grains. So there were some voids in this stem, and it was a good opportunity for me to keep the pipe for myself and have a record of the changes that I'm trying to make to the stain. I felt like the red top stain was coming through too much, and it started to bleed into Saxon area.
Okay.
So I reformulated a little bit, and this is the new relief grain finish that looks a lot like 1950 relief grain. So hopefully people like that. Again, those are over on Missouri Meerschaum website. But I kept this one for myself.
Nice.
Little record of the past and forward moving changes.
Awesome.
And everybody loves a really nice chimney. So I didn't go super short on the stem, as you know I'm wont to do.
Yeah, I kind of wish you did.
I know. Well, it wasn't intended for me. This was definitely a very, what we would call eyebrow warmer style pipe. Very tall, very narrow chamber, which is wonderful for Virginias. Thus, I chose the Royal Yacht today. But had I meant to keep it, it would have gotten a tight little Lovett style saddle and been super short. But it was flaws in the stem material, and by the time I re-stem this pipe, I'm already losing money, so I kept a second for me.
Nothing makes a pipe smoking experience 110% like the edge of your bowl poking you in the eyeball. Just have that smoke billow right into your peeper.
Oh, yeah, yep. And walk around with one watery eye.
Yeah, yep. Oh, you just... make one eye look like how you feel inside all the time. Watery, red, and sad.
as you say that, it wouldn't be hard for me to pull the stem off and recut it, give it a new tenon all the way down here where the taper starts.
Okay.
And make this about 3 inches long and then just restamp the clover. Which would get rid of all of those voids, and then it would be a sellable pipe again, too.
Yep.
But I'm not going to do that.
Worth more now that you've smoked it. Your mouth's been on it.
New carbon coat in there. Nobody will know the difference. Buff those teeth marks right out because I've already... It takes me 10 seconds of smoking my pipes to immediately put my tooth marks in it.
Well, your bite's too mighty. You got to have a more delicate bite to match your delicate throat.
The Bite is Too Mighty is a great episode title. Okay. I mean, maybe we should pick something from Max, but...
I already picked one. Yeah, Lively Unbeaten Horse.
All right, on that note, we should probably make our way to an interview.
Hello.
Hey, Max, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I am very good. A lot better now that I'm in touch with you and moving forward with this great interview.
Hey, I like to hear that. I caught up on y'all's conversation with Leonard here the other day.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, it definitely helps if you know what was discussed there and how many questions were lingering.
No, it's some questions that need answering for sure. So it sounded like everything went well.
Yeah. No, it was a great interview. It's been well received. It was really nice that he was willing to do that, but it definitely left Eugene and I wanting to talk to the guy who has to continue making those decisions.
Yeah, the guy with the reins now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Glad that it came to somebody like you, and the fact that you're willing to do this interview already tells me that it's a good move because you want to get in front of it. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, exactly. No, and again, I appreciate the reaching out in the first place because it is important for me certainly to start having these conversations now that we're in a better place to kind of have them.
Right.
If that makes sense, right?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, you needed to have some answers formulated before you could start trying to approach it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we spent so much time just, as Leonard pointed out, it was a crunch on kind of deliverables in the timeline, but still, before everything is kind of finalized, it's tough to even have those conversations, despite, people naturally wanting to know.
Yeah, it's easy for interest and curiosity to get the best of us, but if we ask for answers before there are answers, we end up with the wrong ones. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Excellent. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking to Leonard, but once he said he was in the shed in the backyard, I started to understand why our reception wasn't the best.
The funniest thing has been because I was still in the States when he started to even build that little shed. And so through, hundreds of hours of Teams meetings with Leonard since he's kind of moved into his home away from home there, you just gradually see new things added, the banjo's up and there's a couple of new tins of tobacco in the back. So it's been fun to follow the evolution of Leonard's shed.
Very nice.
Leonard plays the banjo? Why wouldn't he mention that?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he mention that?
Yeah.
You come on the Grey Woody show and you don't drop something like you're a banjo player. Man, miss.
Yeah. I think my first Chicago pipe show, which was 2016 or 2017, Leonard actually, he actually played at one of the after parties. Yep. In one of the rooms where everybody gathered after he was up there talking with a couple of other people. So it was, an eye opener too, because I didn't have that side of him.
No idea about it. Right. Yeah, those music nights are pretty infamous. I like to take people who are new to the shows to see what really goes on after the tables are done selling.
Yeah, exactly. It was that room. I don't know if you recall. It was that room, before it burnt down, at the Pheasant Run, where they had the the built-in hot tub into the floor, and then around that hot tub it was all shag carpet. So I don't want to get us off topic, but it was just very entertaining to see. Look back into a time machine.
Yeah, it being in Steve Norris's Briar Room, just it doesn't have that same appeal anymore. I mean, I love it. I still go when they play, but it will never be the same as a shag carpet hot tub.
Yeah, that whole place had kind of the Shining vibes, certain parts of it, right?
Yeah, I always tell Eugene I'm really sad that he didn't. I got the last few years of Pheasant Run, and he never got the opportunity to see it. It really was. The Shining is a good way to put it. There were times it definitely felt like we didn't belong there, and had just taken it over.
Right? Yeah. Like when it's like 3 a.m. and you're walking around the hallways like drink in hand, and you kind of expect to turn a corner and see the 2 twin girls like asking you to follow,
Oh man, 2 twin Leonards.
Oh man,
good stuff.
Yeah. Well, and this is a great start to the interview right off the bat, because it's a nice reminder of how present you have been in the shows in the past. I feel like not enough people in our community actually know who you are or know much about you, and that was the impetus for this interview. Yes, we have lingering questions and want to know more about STG and how this all happens, but I think more importantly, we want to know. So I'm glad that you're diving right into some past show experience to kind of, I don't know, solidify the fact that you are a member of this community.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate the platform once again. I mean, it's pipe tobacco is definitely very near and dear to my heart, and maybe I'm jumping the gun on some of the questions here, but I mean, this has been since I joined STG 10 years ago, kind of the one steady for me has always been that I've, had the pleasure of kind of being involved with pipe tobacco, both from sales side and then from brand management side as well. So, and then of course, there's a very personal connection for me as well to the hobby. So with the Stokkebye name, right, and yep. Growing up around it, and when I was crying as a baby, they gave me a little pipe and said, hush now, Max. So,
very nice. Yeah, that's probably a good place for us to really dive into this then. The obvious elephant in the room. Yes, your last name is Stokkebye, and I think anybody in our community might recognize that name from thousands upon thousands of pouches and tins and even pipes and accessories later. So do you want to kind of give us a family history of who the Stokkebyes have been and how you come into this?
Yeah, of course. Where do I start? Yeah, so I mean, first there was darkness, and then no, I'm kidding. I think, it really started in 1882, which is 5 generations prior to myself, where my great-great-grandfather started the Stokkebye pipe tobacco factory in Odense, which is on Fyn, which, as you guys know, it's the little middle island in Denmark where historically a lot of pipe tobacco has been produced through the years, which is just an interesting little fact on the region. But he started
this one little community that happened to have been a huge part of all of this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Danish legacy with regards to pipes and pipe tobacco is pretty fascinating. But so he started the Stokkebye pipe tobacco factory there, and wow. It passed generations then to my great grandfather, who really kind of took it a step further. So he went off to Indonesia and learned about, some, at the time, very rare and exotic leaf. And,
yep.
Traveling there was like, several months to get there. And they lived in this little village which had like a tiger that was kind of in the jungle and preying on the villagers. So it was
wow.
just fascinating stories that we got from back then. And I mean, just a totally different time, right? But he learned a ton about tobacco leaf, and then eventually brought that back to Denmark, where they then started to, import and incorporate some of these new leaf types into the blends that they were using. So
that's where like the Oriental leaf embracing comes from, and then some of those older processing techniques and everything get tied in there. That's really cool.
Exactly. Yeah. So, he kind of helped further develop, the brand and the manufacturer as a whole. And then my grandfather, Peter Stokkebye, where obviously the name comes from, he was a bit of a rambunctious youth, but, like his father and grandfather, he wanted to get into the industry. And so he initially went to the U.S., where he worked in the Carolinas, actually.
Oh, wow.
Another kind of heart of tobacco and pipe tobacco as well, historically, right? So he really, got his experience under his wings and learned a ton about, procurement and processing and sales, obviously.
Yeah.
And then in the 60s, he went to his father and he said, I'd like to take this show on the road and go back to the States and start importing pipe tobacco and roll your own as well.
Okay.
And so he did that with a distributor out on the West Coast in California. And they really, put Stokkebye tobaccos on the map as far as pipe tobacco. I mean, he was out working with retailers and at trade shows.
Yeah, right on the front lines.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he really made a name for himself. It was always quite fascinating to me. Now I'm going to jump forward a little bit in time, but when I was out calling on retail, as well as fulfilling my role as brand ambassador, I was with a lot of these same retailers, and you would meet, owners and people who had interacted with Peter, and they just spoke so highly of him. So it would always give me a bit of goosebumps, but again, just really, make you just love this thing even more in my case, right? Just knowing that there were these connections, and, you feel like you're sort of like walking in his footsteps to an extent. So
yeah, nobody ever forgot your grandfather and wanted to tell you the stories. It's an incredible feeling.
Exactly. I mean, I get goosebumps just talking about it. I have them right now. So it was, it was really special for me to feel that connection, but obviously for Peter too. I mean, he really took it personal, and he formed a ton of great relationships. So yeah, he really grew, Peter Stokkebye as a brand, both in pipe tobacco and roll your own. Yeah. Obviously very successfully, as we know, both of those still exist today, right? So
yeah, we're a pipe podcast, but I'll say, one of my dirty secrets is I still like some roll your own, and Peter Stokkebye Amsterdam Shag is one of the greatest tobaccos ever made. I've struggled with every other tobacco producer to try to get them to put some kind of shag out, and nobody wants to set their cutters up. So I've just never moved away from Amsterdam Shag.
No, it's also my little guilty pleasure. It's the only cigarette I'll really smoke, and it's quite unique, but absolutely delicious stuff.
Oh yeah.
So Peter did his thing, right, for several decades, really, and then eventually Eric, my father, Eric Stokkebye, came along, and he kind of followed similar footsteps. He went to the Carolinas as well and learned a ton about tobacco, and then he got a job working in the factory, the old Orlik factory, on Funen, until he eventually went to the States and started distributorship, where they were importing a lot of these tobaccos. And so he's still in the industry as well. Today he's brand manager for the fourth generation tobaccos, as you guys talked about in your convo with Leonard as well. But so he works for Arango now, and I know he absolutely loves pipe tobacco and the pipe tobacco community as well. So that's the long and the short of the Stokkebye story in pipe tobacco. So for me, I didn't have a choice. No, I'm just kidding. No, I did my education, and then there was a position with STG when I graduated, and I kind of just took it and ran with it, and I've been here, and now it's been 10 years. So
yeah, that's incredible. So already a decade into this. I'd guess though this current position is probably the largest of what you've done yet.
It is, yeah. So, I mean, I can take you through it real quick if you guys want. I started in sales, just kind of as a territorial sales manager, where I was responsible for a lot of the STG lane portfolio, right? So it was Bugler, Roll Your Own, and obviously the pipe tobaccos, but also little cigars and rolling papers. So I did that for about half a year, and then they had an opening on what we call the premium sales team, where we basically were exclusively calling on tobacconists. So I spent 2 to 3 years doing that, where again, here my focus was kind of exclusively on pipe tobacco, right? So I got to meet so many fantastic retailers and tobacco shop owners across the United States, and really just had a fantastic time doing that. I mean, you guys are in touch with the community, obviously, so there's owners out there who absolutely have a passion for pipe tobacco, right? So
for sure,
obviously a lot of them are primarily cigar stores. But certainly a lot of them are involved with pipe tobacco as well. And then you meet, some of those kind of retailers that are a little more focused on pipe tobacco than the rest, right?
The John David Coles of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Gotta love JD. So that was really where a lot of my focus was, right? In terms of visits, and started doing events and everything like that too. And, really got to know the community, right? And that's also around the time when I started attending some of these pipe shows. Then actually Leonard had an opening on his brand team in Tucker, where the old Lane factory was. And I took a job there as an associate brand manager, where I had responsibility for pipe tobacco, but also some of those other categories I mentioned, right? Which was fine. It was a great learning experience, obviously, and you got your hands involved with a ton of stuff, but the passion was always in pipe tobacco.
I think for you to move the way you have, the more background you have, the more of these jobs that you did, the better understanding you have of the industry as a whole. So it all fits and makes sense longer term.
Exactly. And I'm just, naturally kind of a curious guy. And if I don't know how something works, I'm like a little obsessive about understanding that better. So, as part of being in sales, it was like, this is fun, and I like being out here and, executing plans and talking to customers and retailers. But I was always kind of curious, like, well, what's the behind the scenes like, where does this come from? What's the, what's the reason why we're doing this, right? And who's creating this? So Leonard, thought I was a fit for the opportunity there. So I went in and worked in marketing there for a while. And that's also when, I started being a little more present at some of the pipe shows, now that, there was less time on the road, right? And, and we had a chance to be a little more present there, or I did.
Less directly involved in all of the accounts and freeing up a bit of free time to go do those. Exactly.
So then, I think roughly like 2018, there was a bit of a reorg with the company. Obviously, as you guys know, Lane production shut down, and that went over to Denmark. And at that point, they eliminated the associate brand manager role. So I took a job as brand manager. Brand ambassador for pipe tobacco. And this was, as far as like pure fun, probably the most fun that I've had in any role at STG.
Anytime ambassador comes up in the title, it's going to be a bit more fun than you were.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I think Leonard alluded to it. I was spending like 250 days out of the year, something like that on the road. And,
wow.
Just doing events with retailers. So we were doing blending contests, we were doing tobacco seminars, staff training, and then also, being very present at all the shows.
Yep.
So that was, probably the height from my time with STG of our presence at a lot of these shows, right?
Yeah.
And then COVID hit and really threw a wrench into the plans. So, we shifted to trying to do some like digital events with people.
Right.
And through COVID, Leonard left to start up Insurgent Ventures, right, where they were doing those hemp cigarettes.
Yep.
And he recommended me to the role of brand manager. So I very happily took that position, right? I figured, okay, I've been an outdoor cat again, and now it's time to be an indoor cat again. So, so I jumped back into the seat, and obviously had a little more direct responsibility for the activities and what we were doing, with the removal of the associate part of the role. But even here, it was, it was also managing a lot of the other categories, right, outside of just pipe tobacco.
Of course.
So your time was always kind of split. You always had to wear many hats in the average day, right? Which was, again, great and certainly fantastic experience for me professionally.
Yeah, and fits your personality.
The passion, yeah. But the passion was still always in pipe tobacco, right? So fast forward a couple of years from there, and my wife and I had this great idea that we would move back to Denmark. So I was in touch with STG for a while, trying to make that happen. It wasn't really moving as fast as I wanted it to, so I actually resigned in February of last year.
Okay.
And always kind of checking in and sending emails to STG saying, hey, trying not to be a nuisance. But then a couple of months later, and they had gone through another kind of minor restructure.
Another restructuring, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then they reached out and said, hey, we figured it out. Would you want to take the role for brand manager for pipe tobacco globally? And I said yes. And they were like, do you want to take the weekend to think about it? And I was like, nope. Because it was basically exactly what I wanted.
This is what I've been waiting for. Yeah, right.
Exactly. I had a chance to move back to Denmark, and and I have a lot of family over here still. So it was always, I'd spent like 25 years living in the States at that point, and I kind of wanted to get back in touch with some of my Danish roots and the Danish family. So everything, really worked out well in that sense, and then. Started here again in July of last year, and about week 2, week 3, they said, "Hey, here's a fun project. We purchased McBaron." So that's been my life for the last 6-7 months.
Yeah, surprise! Here's a giant project for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you are now the global representative.
Exactly. Yeah. So today I represent, I think it's roughly like 111 brands.
Wow.
And that's 1,200 plus products.
Jeez.
So I mean, it's almost more of like a category manager role with a focus on certain brands, right? Because I mean, it's impossible to sit and be an active brand manager for all 100 plus brands, right? You would need a small team for that. So, but yeah, absolutely loving it, and obviously learning, the markets that I haven't been responsible before, right? There's some other sizable pipe tobacco markets out there, right? Germany, Denmark for one, the UK, Spain and Italy also have a nice presence. So.
Yeah, Spain is coming up a lot lately. They seem to be growing rapidly.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there's a lot of similarities to the U.S. market that I, of course, know and am used to, but there's also some nuances and some smaller differences, right, that are always fun to learn about and understand. Like, hey, how are pipe smokers different? How do they see pipe tobacco? How do they see the brands, right? So, so it's it's been really fascinating to get ingrained in the new role so far.
Excellent. So, to take a little step back, then you talked about living in the U.S. for 25 years. I think most people to meet you would just assume you were an American.
And I identify as an American.
Yep. But you're staying in Denmark for the foreseeable future, reconnecting with your roots. I know you at least conversationally speak as well.
That's right.
Okay. So you're kind of re-embracing that side of your family history. So you'll be working from Denmark, but you will still work pretty closely with the United States pipe tobacco?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pipe tobacco in the U.S. is still the largest pipe tobacco market in the world, right? So it's absolutely a very key market for us. So that's that's the biggest attention getting country for me in the role moving forward, right?
Yep. And that can be done from Denmark. I expect you're going to have a lot of travel on your hands, but it's not too hard to run out of Denmark.
No. I mean, I think like global travel in general has gotten much easier, and
right.
I think for me, even going back, it's like it's if I can do it for work and then also see friends and family and even within the industry, right? Like colleagues in the tobacco category and pipe tobacco specifically, it's just very enjoyable for me to have these opportunities to go back and stay in touch with people. Because the time zone changes do present some complications occasionally. I have a sister in Los Angeles, right? So we're like sometimes talking when she's like up late at night and I'm getting ready to go to work. So, but I think like overall, it's nice also for me to just be much closer to the factory. I'm sitting at the corporate headquarters here in Copenhagen or just outside of Copenhagen, but, being able to shoot over to the factory in Essence and be a little more hands-on with the leaf and blend teams that we have there and kind of,
nice.
Supporting direction and what we're doing in terms of product development is super nice, right? And something that I didn't really have the opportunity to do once, the Lane factory shut down. Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense then.
Yeah. So, and then, obviously, as part of what I want here for the future of STG's involvement in pipe tobacco, I do want to get back to being more present at the pipe tobacco shows, right? I think they're very important to our industry and our community. So, and also, quite personally, I miss going to these shows. Like as we alluded to at the beginning of the call, it's a good time, right? So,
right. Yeah, it's the best time we have.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you can go, check off work and check off enjoying yourself at the same time.
And
I also think like just, the fact that now I'm sort of 100% responsible for pipe tobacco and only pipe tobacco, it also just makes that easier, right? Overall, because even before it's like, okay, you're, gearing up to go to Chicago Pipe Show or whatever. Meanwhile, you're still getting emails and, maybe I actually should put on my little cigar hat for just a second and think about a little, so your attention is just always kind of divided. Yeah, exactly. So I just, I'm really, enjoying the fact that I can kind of give it the full focus.
Yeah,
and I also,
can be hyper
to me,
focused even. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think that, STG owes that to the pipe tobacco community. So I'm really happy that, we have the setup now to kind of give it that love and attention, right?
Yep. Yeah, how the community receives this moving forward, I think, hinges entirely upon what you're saying right now. If that community embracing attitude is witnessed, I think it changes the narrative a lot that we've been hearing thus far.
Yeah, I agree.
Jake Midbird McKenna just sent a message. He says to tell you that Richmond misses you and wants to know if you miss American IPAs.
I miss all of the American beers. I mean, don't get me wrong, Europe has some good beers. But,
it's a very different style, though.
Yeah, and I grew up with all the microbrews in the States, so yeah, good for my stomach, but not good for my heart. But yeah, and I miss my folks in Richmond too. I mean, that was when I took the brand manager role. I basically moved up there. I'm the weirdo type of guy who likes to be physically present in the office and doesn't really like work from home because I'm so distracted if I'm working from home.
Oh yes,
it's like I could be doing the dishes and fuck around for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
my French. So when I'm in the office, it's just a different focus that that I need personally. So we moved up. My then girlfriend, wife now, moved up to Richmond, and we loved our time there. I mean, I had been there for the Corpse show in the past.
Yep.
But never spent much time there outside of that. So we really grew to love Richmond. So yeah, I hope to be back here sometime in the future to see all the connections I have there.
Yeah, excellent. I think we're going back to Richmond in the next couple weeks and do a last goodbye with that team anyway. So yeah, talking about shows, I want to thank you. I don't know if you listened to our most recent episode, but there was a subtle love letter to you asking for sponsorship that the listeners didn't know I'd already gotten a response for. So it was a little out of time and place.
No worries.
But yeah, so we really appreciate you sponsoring Capital Land. But that is, the next question. You talk about getting to some of these shows moving forward. I'm guessing regional shows like our Capital Land show are not immediately on your radar. But Leonard also talked about coming to some of the shows, St. Louis and maybe even Capital Land. So are you going to rely on your team to help have a presence at those, or are you going to make a push to be at some of these?
Yeah, so it's still a bit in the decision-making matrix for what I'll physically be present at. I'd obviously love to be, again, at as many of those shows as I physically am allowed to do.
Yep.
But yeah, I think, sending Leonard is kind of our plan B, although Leonard is certainly not a plan B. Don't let him hear me say that. But
I know what you mean by it, yeah.
But just due to the fact that, he's in Atlanta, right? And he's a little closer in proximity. So I think that's sort of plan B. And then we also, we do have an agency that we've worked with in the past where they'll go and kind of represent STG. And obviously that's not the ideal way to move forward because they don't necessarily have all the rich industry knowledge and pipe tobacco knowledge, but they're able to go and kind of execute the show. And, we have a very professional bunch that we work with there. So I think, those are kind of the three-tiered approach to making sure that we get back and, get in touch with the community at these pipe shows as much as possible moving forward.
Yep. Good to know. Are you looking at more event type things? Not to put too bright a light on it, but when Sutliff was involved in the shows, it wasn't just sponsorships. There was a lot of hosted events and after parties and, Battle of the Briar recording, all kinds of other ways of supporting these shows. Are you looking to add some more community involvement? It's hard to find the right words for it, but putting together events and things like that as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, yeah, so that's everything that, what you mentioned there are things that I'm looking at now, how we can be better present and more involved moving forward. So yeah, all that's absolutely up on on the whiteboard as we speak.
Awesome. On a very similar vein, but moving into the internet. So you ran This Pipe Life, I'd say probably single-handedly for a while. Are you taking over tobaccoreviews.com as well?
Yes,
okay.
We are. And it's actually kind of one of my current projects right now. So we're trying to move as fast as possible to kind of transfer that over under the STG umbrella. But yeah, it's absolutely going to continue existing. And, we're just kind of working with, some different vendors here to kind of see how we can sort of maybe even improve the platform. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, what we don't want to do is lose all of the excellent content that's on that database, right? Because it is such an amazing tool.
It's invaluable. It really is.
Exactly. I mean, I don't care if you've been smoking a pipe for 30 years or for, 3 weeks. It's just the perfect jumping in point to learn so much. And then, additionally, there's a very active forum there as well, right? For a conversation and, pipe tobacco, life, everything in between.
Yeah.
So long story short, we're definitely keeping that alive and, again, kind of seeing how we can maybe even improve the platform moving forward.
Very cool. And how's This Pipe Life doing? I popped back in. I hadn't been in a while, but that's just I wear too many hats, so I try to be present as well. But eventually all the forums build up, and I was active on there for a while, and I went back in to see that Leonard has definitely been getting his workout there. Is that going to kind of continue being a pet project?
So This Pipe Life it's I'll be honest, and probably all I can say right now, it's a bit up in the air right now if we'll continue with that. I mean, just based on the fact that we have this much more active forum and populated forum, even from tobaccoreviews.com.
Right.
I don't know if it makes sense to kind of fold one in under the other, right? So, but it's still kind of
bit in
something
the air.
We're deciding on currently. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when it first launched, like I still have the pin on my pipe bag from the major launch of This Pipe Life. And,
awesome.
And that's, speaking of, so that's another thing. Having a presence at pipe shows, selling samples of blends, doing all of that is nice, but is there some part of the brand that you think could move forward, getting back into the pipe smoker swag, some of the pins or patches or, little things that make people feel connected to the brand? Is there any plan to work on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this goes back to your question on, how can we be more involved, right? As far as like what was Sudlift doing? Yeah, exactly. I think this is part of just kind of, the reinvigorated push that I want to make here moving forward, right? So that's part of that as well.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to shine too bright a light on Sudlift and hold you to a different bar because of that. It's just those are some of the things that mattered. So it's not like you have to, nobody expects you to be the new Sudlift.
No, I think they're really fair points. And also, I mean, this is, to me, that I want to be a part of moving forward, right? So that, hey, if there was something that, STG was lacking in that Sudlift was doing a great job of, to me, that's low hanging fruit, right? Okay, absolutely. Let's get involved with that. So, I think these conversations are part of the roadmap to getting there, where the community is happy and we're happy, right?
Yep. Yeah. And knowing those expectations up front, like you said, low hanging fruit is nice because if everybody says this is what we're looking for, you already have an outline for what you need to be doing. So it does make it an easier decision.
Exactly. And then hopefully, being able to do some new stuff too, or, showcase some know-how in maybe new ways, right? That's obviously something that I would like to do as well.
Directly related, but from a very different perspective. I know STG is not set up for small batch tobaccos, so the podcast blends and things like that are highly unlikely, like coming right up in the front with that. But is there any thought to doing some kind of white label branding? You know, like some of the shows had their blend for the year, even if it's rebadges. Is there any thought about kind of doing exclusives or features, or finding a way to make that a special blend, even if it really is just the same blend again, which we've covered that quite a bit through Sutliff's closure, that a bunch of those favorite tobaccos were just an STG tobacco or were just a rebranded something else. And there's nothing wrong with that. Welcome to the industry. We all know that happens. It's the same side, you know, with the pipes. I may be K-Woody and make all of those myself, in the 174 year tradition, but we all know that a lot of these other brands are Italian made pipes with a new stamp on them. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
So I'm just curious if there is a thought towards some kind of white labels and doing little specials like that.
Yeah, I think that's it's a difficult question a bit, right? Because obviously with the integration of McBaron now, we've gone through this big rationalization exercise that Leonard kind of walked you guys through, right? So I think that's sort of step one. For me, a part of sort of the next phase here is going to be like, what do we need to get back to, right? Because, hey, even if we say, okay, we eliminated, you know, X amount of pipe tobacco products, that doesn't mean we have to introduce the same amount, right? There's a way to introduce less and still kind of
and get more out of it.
You know, streamline the portfolio, right? So I'm looking to see what we can do to, you know, to your point, kind of have some of these white label products going out. But I think more than that, you know, I'm really trying to look at the future for STG and pipe tobacco more under just the innovation lens. So whether that's you know, introducing new brands or extensions of brands, or reintroducing old favorites, right? Which certainly is probably ringing true to a lot of people right now, right? These are activities that I definitely want to be part of the future here for STG moving forward.
I'm sitting here smoking Dunhill Royal Yacht. That was going away initially when Peterson took over, but then I just looked at, because I stashed my own, I see that it is actually back out under the Peterson brand.
Exactly. And so that, you know, to me, that's, again, if there's like a 1A for how we can innovate and get back to product development, you know, for me, that's probably the easiest place to start, right? So obviously we're getting a lot of feedback, negative and positive, about everything that's happening right now with pipe tobacco in the U.S. So to me, you know, this is where I want to be really actively listening and understanding, like, okay, maybe this was a mistake, right? And pending, you know, obviously regulatory, which is always,
that's the hardest piece,
as
right?
Leonard pointing out. Yeah, exactly, with the FDA and how we interpreted versus how Sutliff may have interpreted. But regardless, you know, I know there's going to be some opportunities there to, you know, reintroduce. Yeah, exactly. So I think, you know, the tough part is just this initial cut where we just kind of have to, you know, I say STG kind of has to go through the pain. Yeah,
you have to stick to your guns for a little bit and get through the initial thought before you can even consider what mistakes were made and where to reverse.
Exactly. No, that's it 100%. So, but yeah, I mean, trust me when I say this is, you know, this is part of my plans for the pipe tobacco moving forward. So,
okay. So on that note, do you currently have like a reviewer list or an advanced release list, or people you send that to get traction and get it talked about?
Yeah, no, I mean, so again, I think this is like a really good example of why I'm also happy to connect with you again. This is like a perfect opportunity to, you know, get things put in front of you and Eugene, as well as your audience. If there is a list, you're on it now.
Awesome. Yeah, nice. I'd be really excited. You know, we did cover a lot of the doom and gloom. We talked about a lot of the negative impact. So I look forward to opportunities to do the positive as well. So I was really hoping that was the answer, because I don't want to be seen as the, hey, you broke all the really bad news, thank you, and then we're irrelevant again in 6 months because all we do is doom and gloom.
Well, I listen, I think it's fair. Like, you guys are reporting on the category and the hobby, so like to that extent, you have to kind of call it how it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
With some color commentary in there. So I think that's perfectly fair. And again, until you guys had probably talked to Leonard and myself, you didn't know anything more than what was circulating on forums and YouTube channels out in the ether, right? So yeah, absolutely.
With questionable pedigree at that.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, some of the stuff I was reading, I was definitely shaking my head, just like, that's not true at all.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you present the truth, people just believe what they want anyway.
Right.
So,
right, yeah.
What people don't,
damned if you do, damned if you don't, yeah.
What people don't see are all of our responses to things that were clearly covered and aired out.
Yep.
And complete burying their head in the sand.
And yeah, that's why we did the dumb comments on Sutliff posts.
Yeah.
It was just abundantly clear that even those who were listening weren't really listening.
Yep.
Yep. And they just continue the same misinformation despite the fact that we try to clear it up, and that others do too, not trying to take the whole burden here, but some people in this community don't care what the truth is.
Nope.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't...
507C and PS 400 is probably the best example of that lately, where just absolutely nobody wants to believe that those are the same tobaccos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, creme brulee and brulee and mocha dolce.
That's
right?
the one. Yeah, that's the hot ticket right now. Is why were they selling it to us under two different names? Why did they lie? And it's like, well, it probably wasn't a lie in the beginning. It was, let's tin this up and see if people buy it differently. Oh, that worked. Crap, we're here now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yeah, and you have an open invitation if there's news, changes coming up, things that you want to address, if in sifting through the hours upon hours of feedback that you get to read, you start seeing these trends, we're more than happy to have you back on to clear the air and explain what's really going on, so that, albeit unlikely, you can attempt to tell people what the truth is.
Yeah.
Please believe me. No, I appreciate the platform again. I mean, it's a great avenue for us to kind of present our truth.
Right.
And listen, I mean, to be fair, it's the internet. Internet's going to do what internet does, right?
Yep.
So it's like, let's not pretend it's exclusive to the pipe tobacco community.
No, not at all.
This happens.
Yeah,
so,
this is the internet at large.
Yep.
Question. Art on STG has been traditionally non-existent. Have you put any thought into developing a little more artistic side to some of the tins or blends or any of?
So I'll answer your question with a slight tease, but this very much goes hand in hand with something I'm currently working on. But maybe we can have a follow-up off air to discuss further, Nathan. It's actually the perfect question that you ask.
Excellent. We will move that offline then. All right. I'm curious what your hopes and dreams are, what you really want to do with STG, not to hold you to it because we know how corporations work, but is there an overarching desire you have for where you want STG to move moving forward? Yeah,
I mean, so again, for me, there's a lot of passion in pipe tobacco, and again, that personal connection, that keeps me in the office and keeps me working hard, right? So, but I think to answer your question, being the global leader in pipe tobacco production, moving forward, I really want to get back to showcasing STG's commitment and expertise in the hobby, right? Not just for the U.S., but for the world. Yeah. So I'm, again, as much as this, has had its pains to go through and, reading feedback online and everything, which I know they tell you not to do.
It's so hurtful comments. If you get too deep.
but at the same time, it's like, okay, fair is fair. Take it on the chin, right? Dust yourself up and get back up. But for me, like I think it's pretty straightforward. Like STG has this opportunity to get back to being more involved with the community and getting people excited for where we're pushing the hobby into the future, right? Because there is a future for pipe tobacco, obviously, whether it's from STG or Cornell and Deal or Cup Tobaccos, right? Like it's going to continue into the next decades, right? So, as a part of that, I just, again, like same as being on the show here, I want to be part of the conversation. I want to listen to what pipe smokers are saying and asking for. And, I think that'll help highlight the path moving forward, right, outside of what I previously mentioned. So I totally understand, like, seeing your favorite blends disappear can be heartbreaking, right? But I, as I mentioned, I personally read the emails, positive or negative. I take the feedback to heart. And it's part of, what I'm considering and presenting to internally here for the future of the pipe tobacco portfolio for STG, right? So long story short, keep the feedback coming. I'm listening, and we're committed to getting back involved with the community and
excellent,
getting out there and hopefully doing some cool shit along the way.
Nice. Yeah, and I think anybody listening to this, your prior answers have already highlighted the fact that yes, the future is high on your priorities. So it's exciting to hear. Already, it sounds like you've listened to a lot and are trying to take that all into account. So that's wonderful to hear. These interviews can go either way. And there was a small, I know you personally, fortunately, but there was still a small piece of me that realized this might be an interview that went, we care about sales numbers and all of this is just shit. So thank you.
Well, and I mean, of course they do. Like, we're a publicly traded company, but at the same time, there are, activities in any business that aren't necessarily bottom line focused, but are good for the category as a whole or for the brand as a whole. Right. And so, that's to me why, like, a lot of this stuff, it might not net $10 million, right? But like it's important for the future and a part of how we'll stay in that future.
Yeah, longevity. It is easy to miss that there are tough financial decisions that increase your longevity and not your bottom line. And it's easy to overlook that if you're just a corporate shill, as Jeremy likes to throw the word around.
No, I mean, it's absolutely true. Like, if you're just looking at that, profit and loss statement, it's like, well, this tells me to go one way, right? But that's usually leaving out a lot of the context. So I think that's an important part of the future here for me.
Excellent. Then unless you have anything to add, I think that is a great natural stop to the interview. We'll keep you on the line after we stop the recording. But is there anything you wanted to add from a personal or business perspective that I missed?
No, I think we covered everything. Excited to get over there for the Chicago Pipe Show and see old friends and hopefully make some new ones as well. So.
Perfect. So you're definitely coming to Chicago this year?
Yes.
All right. I look forward to seeing you there. We'll be there for sure. And you're welcome for having you. Thanks for this opportunity. It was really a great time to catch up with you and to see where things are headed.
Likewise.
All right. Take care.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Max Stokkebye.
Yes, it is. I was trying to come up with something really witty and funny, and I missed.
Sometimes you just got to swing at the air, man.
The Max, the myth, the legend.
Yep. So if you are on our Discord, you're going to notice that there was a change made this week. And the change was we had a channel called Meme Star Runner, and everyone on the Discord decided to use that to try to coax Midbird into giving them free stuff with their orders, little extras and bonuses or whatever. So I went ahead and renamed that channel to Dear Midbird.
Yeah. I think our audience was too young to get the Meme Star Runner reference anyway.
Yeah, it's sad. Homestar Runner was life at one point.
Seriously.
Couldn't wait for them strong bad emails.
Yep.
It's great. Here we go.
I know you were hoping to do some extra editing.
You reach Jake. Please leave your name and number, and I'll give you a call back. Thanks.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Jake. This is Eugene calling you.
And Nathan. That should have come before the calling you.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, all right, let's try that again. Hey, Jake. This is Eugene.
And Nathan.
Calling you from the greywoodieshow. Because we wanted to. Call us back. And that's that. Boy, we just fizzled right out here.
Yeah, that conversation fell apart. So great interview with Max.
Yeah.
Better than even I expected. Knowing him, I knew it would be good, but it came out perfect. Really enjoyed smoking my Royal Yacht.
Notice you drew a little picture on your label.
I said, this is from 10 years ago. I was trying to...
Wu-Tang Clan symbol?
So it appears as though I wrote over something else. There had been something else in this jar, and then I rewrote over it, so it all blurs together. And then there's another label on the other side from what it was even before that.
Wow.
Clipper Cavendish. I have no idea. It was a Cavendish forward blend. Clipper. Like some old... But yeah, there's not actually a symbol on here. It says something under what it says.
Oh, okay. It does. It look like a shoddy Wu-Tang Clan symbol. Okay.
Yeah, now I see it. It does. But yeah, it was a nice return to the plum goodness that is the Royal Yacht. Pre-Peterson label. Same tobacco, but...
Just older. Yep.
Like I said, that's probably a 10-year-old jar of it now. You enjoyed the room note. It is I've always liked that one. It's a little pleasant. It has a tendency to be a bit of a nick heavy blend. Once in a while, when you smoke it, you get the spins, and you're like, "Whoa, where'd that come from?"
Right.
But I didn't have that issue at all. And I mean, the pipe was a good choice because while it's a tall bowl, it's so narrow that it wasn't a lot of tobacco. But lots of coffee and water and conversation probably kept it from being too strong this time. But I've had a couple times with it where I'm like, oh wow, I don't like this anymore. This is uncomfortably strong.
Right.
But it comes in waves. I was well hydrated, so maybe that was all it took.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, the room note was good. Very mellow. Nothing offensive. Nothing really standout-ish either.
Right. Yeah, the flavor profile really comes through in the smoke. It's not as strong. You get a lot of those weird plum notes, whatever topping they use, but it doesn't seem to overwhelm the smell in the room. So there you go. Handy blend that has flavor but doesn't kill everybody in the room like a Captain Black Grape.
Right. And there you go. Another quality episode of The Grey Woody Show in the bag.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week, maybe.
Yep.
Always.
Definitely. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
What's up, man?
What's up?
Hey.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Just out here enjoying the cemetery.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Things that bad over there?
I just like to walk with where I'm going to be laying eventually.
I do always forget that if you go for a lunchtime walk at Sutliff, it really is through a cemetery.
Oh, yeah, totally. I'm walking through, like, Confederate shit or, I don't know, some stuff. So, Yeah, I was like, I'll talk to those guys. I'll see what's up.
Yeah. We weren't sure with your busy schedule with the massive discounts going on at tobaccopipes.com and everybody buying every single thing that you have left.
Yeah, you mean shipping all the Discord orders?
Yeah.
That.
No, it's cool.
Can you do like a handwritten note like Nathan does for us?
Yeah.
No, I can't. Nathan is the only one who does it well. I did write one. I think I left out that. I'm like, isn't free stickers of things better than a handwritten note, guys?
Yeah.
You would think, yeah.
Yep. I've been enjoying watching all the people on Discord beg you for free things.
Yeah.
Can you give me extras? Can you sign all this stuff, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you pull out a tin from like 1950 and sign it even though you weren't thought of yet? That'd be great.
Yeah, let me go to the secret vault in the back somewhere. Because there is one of those.
Yeah, there is.
Is there?
Yeah, well, there was. I think I rated it pretty hard.
I think we're thinking of two different things. You got to see the raw leaf warehouse and rub your face on all of the leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like your last episode, put your tongue on things.
I have a tendency.
Stuck on some tenons.
Gotta keep those pipes tight.
Oh, yeah. Keep them wet. Keep them tight.
So gross.
Yeah.
We just knocked out a fantastic interview with Max Stokkebye.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was a very nice interview. I think he's what we call your colleague currently.
Yeah, he is. I don't know what after like Jeremy and my direct boss Terry, I don't know who would be my boss at STG because no one's ever said hi to us about it. Yeah. But I've never seen my boss's boss, like the website, not the production.
Yeah, from the website side, it's a different workflow.
Yeah, and if he was it's a different silo workflow. They like those words. What all corporations do, though, that's just how it works. That I understand that. Or how Leonard was talking about how he was here in November when they gave that presentation and they talked about what's happening and everything. If the gentleman was here, he didn't say hi to anybody from the website.
Right.
So I think he was here, and I think he eventually talked to one of my employees, and she will be continuing on with them, but I am not. So.
Well, now we know the criteria for talking to you. A future.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
So speaking of the future, we were going to ask you if you wanted to make some time to do a solo episode instead of scabbing on the end of this one.
Sure.
Yeah, I had an idea about talking to Midbird about what it was like to break into the industry and how it affected your life over the years that you've been with tobacco pipes.
Okay, that's cool. I can do that. Are we going to wait until I'm not employed under STG, or do you want me to do it beforehand?
I think maybe knocking it out before you aren't employed would be the best way to handle that. So at least you're being paid for your time.
I was going to say, I might have some time in March. Hell, I might have a lot of time in April. It depends on how shit shakes out.
Yeah.
You guys haven't been in the market lately because you're, self-employed pipe makers, but it sucks.
Yeah. There's a reason we're self-employed pipe makers. Mm-hmm. That market is terrible.
It's the job market's dark and full of terrors. It's pretty horrible.
I'm sorry to hear that. That is, while we're laughing, it is actually really unfortunate that it's been such a bad transition so far.
I mean, I'm not the only one who's experiencing this stuff, but
no.
It's just like you put in a resume and you write this cover letter, and then Indeed or whatever AI just says you're not good enough. And you're like, wow, I really should have rethought my life choices when I was 20 22.
Yeah, right.
I don't think that would have mattered. I just think that there actually aren't jobs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I think Jeremy and I had this conversation about some of the stuff. He's like, I found this job that looks super amazing. I don't think it's real.
Right. Yeah, if it's too good to be.
You're probably right.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's unfortunate, though.
Yeah. Or they're like, or Lego will hire you. We have a Lego facility in Richmond.
Oh, neat.
And I'm just like, 12-hour shifts. I am too old for that shit.
Right.
Oh, could you imagine what a 12-hour shift at Lego is like?
No.
Plastic. Stepping on Legos all day.
Yep.
Fucking cursing everyone.
That would be funny if you got the job there as quality assurance and that was your job, was to walk on Legos barefoot.
Yeah, it would be hilarious.
Yeah, we need to know relative pain level of these different shapes.
Mm-hmm.
The 1x1 is the worst square one to step on.
Yep.
I don't know if they have specific names or not, but I haven't built Lego in a couple of years.
I'm sure they do. You'll know soon enough.
Yeah, every time I'm at the mall, I get dragged into the Lego store, and they have all kinds of lingo.
Yeah.
And they scowl at you if you call them Legos.
Yes.
It's Lego, period.
Oh,
I was like, no, they're Legos. There's
I definitely will not be working there unless they have a regular shift, because I can't do 12 hours.
No, that's nuts. Mm-hmm. I can't believe they do that.
It's just straight production. It's just, there's another company in town that I had an interview with, and they do 4 10-hour days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could probably make that work.
Yep.
I have to.
Yeah, 12,
they told me the salary.
12 is that step too far. Oh, yeah.
When they told me the salary, I was like, I can make that work. But it was one of those hey, we're going to give you a 20-minute interview over the phone. Oh, I got someone else right after you and before you, so make it quick, make it right.
Yep.
Wow me.
Yeah, and then we all know the quality of your phone. Get really great audio, so.
Well, I'm not in Sutliff proper right now, so it's
helps,
okay.
Right.
So whenever we do the interview, I'll probably just pack a picnic lunch and go sit under one of these ancient trees out here in the cemetery and chat away.
Maybe you can pack 3 of those lunches and we'll just do it in person.
I mean, that would be fun too.
Oh yeah, we could do it in person.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it'd be better if Tobacco Pipes buys you guys a lunch or something.
Oh yeah. I love when people buy me lunch.
That does sound better. We could probably even stay inside at that point, but I do like cemetery trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least while you're here, we should go at least look at them.
Yep.
So then you're not just like, I just looked at brick walls and put my mouth on tobacco the whole time I was there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. And I think maybe when we come down and we record, I think I'd like to talk to other people that work with you too, if they're still there. Will they be there?
Everyone will be here until the 31st.
Okay, so they'll still be there.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk to Greg. I don't know if anybody else will. I don't know if they'll be willing to talk, but who knows?
Well, if we just hide some microphones in our shirts.
If you want to talk about random shit, talk to Scott. He's a very interesting guy. He'll talk to you about random music, random movies, books, comic books.
Yeah, we seem to find one of those at every factory. You remember when they tried to relaunch the DeLorean Motor Company? Tried to bring the DeLorean back. That was a...
Turns out you can't do it without cocaine money.
That's funny.
So...
All right, well, you guys have a good rest of your day.
You too.
I'm going to get back in here and eat some lunch.
Awesome.
Okay, enjoy that.
So, enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, see you, man.
Take care.
All right, see you.
Bye.
Bye.